Welcome to the Unlicensed Therapist Season 2, Ashlee.
Hello.
You are a pro and a veteran in the recovery community on MJs. And I know a little bit about your story. No, I know a lot of your story. And we had talked, and it's like, all right, let's get together for this show now. Right, Jude?
Yeah.
That's Ashlee. That's Jude. And yeah, let's start off with, this is a little different because it's not like what's your sobriety date, and it's not much about that. We're going to touch on that, but where are you from?
Tiffin, Ohio. Now we have 2 universities in town. I think maybe the biggest city next to me I could say is like Findlay. Some people know that, but mostly if I say Sandusky, Cedar Point is like 45 minutes away. They're like, oh, okay. So yeah, there's not much of anything.
Yeah, my wife literally just drove through Sandusky like last week coming back from Chicago.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure you spent some time in Chicago, and we'll get into that.
Yeah.
So because you're right there, because it's right by the highway to go over there.
Mm-hmm.
And are you an only child? You got brothers or sisters?
I have one older brother. We are 6 years apart. And he is a quote unquote normie. He chews chewing tobacco, but drinking, he goes out and drinks like Smirnoff Ice here and there. I think I convinced him to smoke weed with me like twice, but he's just has always worked and just like been a normal functioning person of society.
Been responsible adult.
Yeah.
It's funny how we can corrupt our siblings sometimes. Like my brother, he's 3 years younger, and the first time he ever smoked weed was in Amsterdam. And
that's cool. You have to. I kind of feel like you have to.
That's what I was saying. That's what I was saying to him. Like, bro, you have to. We're in Amsterdam. Like, dad's smoking, mom's smoking. Like, we all got to smoke. My parents hadn't smoked in like 30 years, and they were going to smoke because it's like when in Rome. When you're in Amsterdam, you got to smoke some weed.
Exactly.
I had smoked with my sister when she was in high school, so like I had experienced that. But like, I was 29 and my brother was 26 and never smoked weed a day in his life. And by then I'm like a full-blown drug addict, and my brother's like never smoked weed. And so, yeah, we smoked in Amsterdam. And then we went to Denver for a few days, and we got high in an Airbnb all week in Denver. And we didn't even leave the Airbnb. We just smoked all week.
Yeah, mine with my brother was when him and his baby mom had broken up, and they'd been together for like years and years and years. So like he was in like a tough spot, and I was like, why don't you just smoke some weed, dude? It'll probably make you feel better. And he actually tried it, and he hit it a couple times, and he's like, I'm not really a fan, so you can just have the rest of it. So, but yeah.
All right, so you guys are close then, like not in age so much, but like brother and sister, you get along, no real.
Yeah. I mean, especially since like me getting away from like my messier past. Like my brother always loved me, you know what I mean? But I feel like now like we have gotten a lot closer. He has my niece and nephew. Like it was only me and him, I don't have any children. Jude is my child. So my niece and nephew, I think we have a lot we can connect on over that too.
And you plan on having your own big family? I'm just
no way. That ship has sailed.
Yeah.
I tell and I hear a lot, you're gonna regret it when you're older, which sometimes I do think about it, like, I'm gonna end up in a nursing home. I am, and
you can go ahead.
Time out a minute because he's a bad dog. You're going to regret it because whatever, who are you going to make memories with? Like, the scene in the girls I hung out with growing up, I think my first friend had the first kid at like 14. I've been around kids and I've just learned that like I like to do what I want to do when I want to do it. If I want to go somewhere, I can lock Jude in a cage. A lot of people frown upon locking children in cages.
Can't do that anymore. Yeah, you can't do that anymore.
So I'm just like, that doesn't make any sense. So, and if I want to come home from work and take a 4-hour nap, like I can do that. Like I love me and I enjoy my freedom. And I'm glad that I've known that. And I've always taken precautions to like not have children. So,
Yeah, no, I know. We've had this discussion at length about that. So I knew your answer on that one. Well, I know a lot of your answers. Let's keep going. So, your parents are still together to this day, right?
correct. They have been together since high school. My mom actually walked across the stage pregnant as hell with my brother. So, yeah.
So you're all pretty close family, to four of you then.
Yeah, we are. Honest, I mean, a lot, even my brother, like both of us throughout our lives, like we knew we could always go home no matter what was going on. If we moved out, was living or doing whatever, we always had a place at home.
And what was that like growing up with, like, because like my parents stayed together until the day my dad passed. They were together. I was 30. I was 36 when my dad passed. So my parents had been together 40 years at that point and married for 37 years, because they got married and then a year later had me almost to the day.
Yeah.
So, my parents were married for 37 years by the time my dad passed. And, I grew up and I just discovered drugs and alcohol at a young age on my own, and just went from there. And we'll get into yours. So your parents, but are there any addiction in your family?
Yes, there's alcoholism and addiction coming from both sides of my family. And I actually, growing up, my father has battled alcoholism his entire life. Well before I was born, he my dad has so many DUIs that now it's considered a felony if you have that many, but his was years ago. But yeah, my dad was in and out of rehabs. My grandfather had paid the sheriff of money for a furlough for my dad to come home for Christmas. I can remember that. I was 2 years old. My dad never had a driver's license until I was in the 8th grade. But my dad still battles alcoholism. And I mean, even after like all that trouble with like wrecking cars, DUIs, whatever, when that stopped, he just wasn't drinking at the bars anymore. He was just at home drinking. So, yeah.
Yeah, he went from being a social drinker to just an everyday drinker at home, kind of
Yeah.
reclusive. But your mom was never a drinker.
My mom is the occasional drinker. My mom can go out and like to a party on a Saturday and then not drink for a couple weeks. It's a social thing for her. My dad, he used to have friends and then he just gets belligerently drunk. And I mean, eventually all those friends started going. And so, yeah, my dad drinks alone now.
Now, did that deter you from drinking or want you to drink?
I kind of feel like at first, like in high school, like when I first started experimenting with like drugs and alcohol, I was about 8th grade. And I guess I enjoyed drinking alcohol, and it was like to get drunk. I didn't enjoy the taste of it. I was doing it to get fucked up. It wasn't like, oh,
yeah,
this
you were doing
good.
it for
I'm just gonna...
the effect it produced and not for the way it tasted.
Right. And I think a lot of it was like, and I always think, well, I'm not going to end up like my dad. I'm not going to end up like my dad. And so like, I don't know, drinking was more of like a party thing for me, and then like back then when I was like first experimenting with weed, drinking alcohol. I started abusing cough medicine for the high that it produced.
When did you start smoking cigarettes? 'Cause you smoke cigarettes, right?
Yeah, and it was the same time basically. I was about 13. And it was just like growing up, I was a very like shy, timid child. Number one, I had red hair, and it used to not be cool to have red hair. And like I was pale with freckles, so like I could deal with a little bit of bullying here and there, but like I've had social anxiety a lot of my life. Just if I'm speaking on something that like I'm passionate about, I guess I really don't have a problem speaking about it, like being around crowds of people, or if I would have to like small talk with somebody, like I really struggle with that. Being in social situations, like afterwards, like I come home and nap. Like I am physically exhausted, mentally exhausted from having to exert myself, just even socially with people.
Yeah.
So like when I started experimenting with all these substances is when I started getting in with like the cool kid.
Cool. Do your parents smoke cigarettes?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, they did
So it was
smoke
easy for you
cigarettes.
to get away with it then as a kid.
Yeah, because the house would already smell like cigarettes, or you know what I mean? I could steal one here and there, but I also made sure that like I had ratchet friends who I could go to their house and do the ratchet activities because most of their parents were crackheads or something. You know what I mean? Like we really could get away with stuff there. So like a lot of it was I wasn't really doing much of that at home because like I never got my ass spanked or anything, but like I just never disrespected my mom like that. I don't know. I did have a fear of my mom, but not like she was gonna beat my ass or something. I think it was like a respect thing.
Yeah. I feel that. I had that with my dad, where like my dad never hit me, once. And he always said when I was an adult, he always joked, he would say, I could never hit you because we had the same name. You look like me and sounded like me. And it'd be like, I can't do that to myself. Like, and he, that was his thing. He could never hit himself. But my parents weren't addicts at all. And I found alcohol and I fucking ran with it. That was just my little escape. I started smoking cigarettes and weed at 13. Mm-hmm. And, it was a wrap from there. But I didn't get into like drug use besides, and I don't consider weed a drug, but still like people do. I didn't progress from alcohol, let's say that, until I was 22. And that's when I discovered opiates. What did you discover next after alcohol and weed and cigarettes?
That was when I was experimenting with the cough medicine.
Okay, that's right.
That was in the 8th grade. I was ingesting the cough pills or Robitussin syrup, whichever it was, before school and going to school. All day like this, almost every day. And
like you're a small girl. Were you tiny then?
Yeah, I've been tall and pretty slim my whole life. Yeah.
So it didn't take you much then back then to like get fucked up and be fucked up during school.
Dude, we were taking like, I couldn't even tell you how many were in a box, but each of us were eating an entire box of these Coracetin cough and cold pills. Like, I'm almost sure that it was like my people in my town, like us stealing them, that they began to put them behind the counter.
Yeah.
Like it was a problem. But then I actually, at the time, I was living with my parents, obviously. We lived out in the country and we had this like little like shed barn where like upstairs was a loft. And I had a friend spend the night this night and we ate we called them cords, Coracetin cough and cold. And we were upstairs like all fucked up talking, I guess talking about it. I don't know, because you kind of just like black out. And my mom stood outside and heard us talking about this. So she ended up like coming up to get me and like pulling me inside. I like can very faintly remember this. My mom and dad like standing right there with me telling me like, we know what you're doing. We know you're fucked up. Da da da. This was my 8th grade year, so this was my last year of middle school. The next year I was going to begin high school.
Yeah.
My mom was like, and you're not going to Tiffin Columbian. I'm sending you to Mohawk School, which is a different school district in the country with like different types of people than, you know, what I'm used to. But so, you know, my freshman year, I was a little bit upset, but you know what? I just went to this school and met the same type of people that just wanted to shenanigan like I did. And I was like, hey guys, this is what I like to do. And then guess what? I had all these other girls eating cough medicine with me.
Yep.
And then at that time, that's when I would start huffing Duster. It was Duster, it was air freshener, never did spray paint or anything like that, but different type of inhalants. It was my 9th grade year when I was going to this new school. I was actually out at a party, but had told my mom that I was spending the night at one of my ratchet friends' houses. My ratchet friend's mom was currently smoking crack and she was getting ready to leave. So she actually lied to my mom and said, yes, the girls are going to be here all night. And I was gone. She went, did her thing. And then, you know, we got ready and we went out. We went to a party with some boys that I had met at my new school.
That I'm sure you had no business being with. Were they older?
Oh,
they had their own car.
They did. So I think they were like a grade or two ahead of me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. How old are you? Are you my age?
How old are you?
39 in September.
Oh no, you're older than me. I'll be 34 this year.
Okay. All right. So we're 5 years apart then. Okay. So, that makes sense because your email address. That makes sense. It ends at 91. Now it makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So now you're hanging out. You're going to a party, and what's going on at this party?
Drinking. This is when, like, I think it was just drinking and smoking weed, but actually my mom, I don't know, had an intuition and was like, hey, I'm getting ready to come to Abby's house and I'm going to be there in X amount of minutes. And I'm like, ah. So I made these boys hurry up and like throw us in these big old trucks. They're big old jacked up trucks. Cause like I was going to a country school at this time and they're flying from this town on the other side of Tiffin, and I needed it to get to the opposite side of Tiffin because my mom was about to show up and catch me. And like I said, she never beat my ass, but I was scared of my mom. And I think I ended up making it, and I don't even think my mom ended up showing up, if I'm being honest. But at this time, I was still drinking and having fun. And this is actually the year I was 14 years old and I got my first underage drinking charge. So then that happened.
How did your parents take that with like your dad's drinking and now you're 14 and you're getting an underage drinking?
Well, my mom told me I was grounded and it lasted for 2 days. And then I was off doing what I need to do. I was a really good bullshitter. I mean, we're very good at bullshitting. When we need to bullshit, we can. And I think a lot of it was I was the baby. I was the only girl. I was like the first girl grandchild, the first girl niece. So like I was babied and just love. So
no, I got alcohol poisoning at 16, and it's funny because we talked about this earlier, but 420 was on Easter this year, and I got alcohol poisoning the day before Easter in 2002 when I was a sophomore in high school, or 2003. Yeah, 2003. And I was a sophomore in high school. and it was the night before Easter this year, April 19th, and I'm like, and I'm thinking back because you know how it is when like you're in like the 12-step program, you start like, thinking back and reflecting on your past. So I'm reflecting on like, okay, Easter Eve when I was a sophomore, I got alcohol poisoning, and then I Googled when was Easter 2003, and it was fucking 420 at 2003. So it was exactly to the day that it's been 22 years to the day that I got alcohol poisoning. So I called my mom and we're talking about it. And, I was in the woods drinking, ended up passing out. I drank a fifth of Bacardi in 10 minutes, ended up in the hospital. And, that's when my parents found out I drank. My dad's punishment, I didn't get grounded. My curfew did not change, but I was supposed to be sleeping at a friend's house that night. So my dad's punishment was you can't sleep out of anyone's house for the rest of high school. And he stuck to it.
Yeah.
He stuck to it. So I'll give him credit for that. Besides my like senior trip, that's when he like gave me an exception. Or prom weekends, down the shore. We go in Jersey, you go on the shore for prom weekend down on the beach. And you don't celebrate prom night, you go do the whole weekend down the shore and rent a motel room. And my senior class, we rented out an entire motel and just got fucked up all weekend, and it was wild. Like literally, it was in a town called Wildwood, and it was a fucking wild, like 25 rooms, 4 people to a room, like 100 of us. It was ridiculous. Anyway, this isn't my story. So your mom did not catch you that night, but then you got an underage drinking charge. Go on from there.
Mm-hmm. So after catching this charge, I had to take some class. They made me go listen to some man who had been in a car accident due to drunk driving. Like I said, I think my mom told me I was grounded, and it lasted about 2 days, and then we're just right back off doing whatever. It wasn't really treated like that was a big deal. So after that, I'm still like just drinking here and there, partying. Nothing was really like a habit. Maybe besides smoking cigarettes. But after that, after my 9th grade year at this new school, you actually had to have 4 credits of math to graduate. At Tiffin Columbian, you only needed 3 credits of math to graduate. Math has never, ever been my strong suit. So at this new school, I failed math my year there. So I was going to be considered a freshman. But if my mom had agreed to send me back to Tiffin, I could be a sophomore and then
do 3 credits.
Graduate on time. So I did convince my mom to let me go back to Tiffin schools, back with all my friends.
That's so funny. We both went to different schools our freshman year and then switched back to our public schools our sophomore year. Yeah. I didn't know that about us. Like I literally went to my mom wanted me to go to a private school freshman year because that's where she went. And so like I did that. And then like halfway through the summer, I'm like, I don't want to go back. I want to go back with my friends into public school. And my dad's like, well, I'll save a shitload of money. So yeah, I'm on board with this. And they put me back in public school.
Yeah. Mine was still public school. It was just a totally different scene. And I think my mom tried to do like the geographical type change thing.
Yeah.
Like, we'll put her with different people. Like, no, I was still me and I still found the people that I wanted to find. So yeah. So then going back to
Tiffin
schools, about this time, I think is when I started to actually have like quote unquote like boyfriends, like real boyfriends, because the people I was hanging out with, the girls I were hanging out with were sexually active already, very young. And I wasn't that way right away, but I learned at a young age that is most of the time that is what guys wanted from you, was a guy could like you. A guy wanted to sleep with you and have sex with you. That's what they were wanting. You know what I mean? So for a while there, like I said, a lot of my friends were like sleeping around and such, but that wasn't me. I had lost my virginity, and when I was in the 8th grade, I left that part out. I had lost my virginity when I was in the 8th grade. And that was during a blackout. I was with the girl who was my best friend then. After that had happened, when I woke up in the morning, I had no idea what had happened. And I was very embarrassed. I'm like, oh my God, why would you let that happen? We have to go. We have to leave. It was like 6:00 in the morning. So we ran out of this apartment. So then, I got my first like real boyfriend. And his name was Kyle. He was the cousin of a lot of the girls from my little friend group. Like my friend group was like a whole lot of like cousins. And then there was like me and another girl. We were all just a tight little clique. So a lot of it, like I grew up a lot with that family as well. Like their aunts and uncles, I would call them Aunt Sue or Uncle John. Like that's what we called them. So then getting with my first boyfriend who was in that family, this is when I started to get exposed to more serious substances. I was in the 8th grade. My boyfriend was only, I think he was like a grade ahead of me, maybe 2 grades. So he was in 9th or 10th grade. He was a bad boy. He was always in the children's center, all that type of stuff. But he also, he smoked crack, used LSD, ecstasy. He kind of just did. I don't really think I would say like he had like a habit with any one substance. Like he was one of those that just used whatever was available. Like,
what do they call that? A garbage pail?
Yeah, just whatever was free or whatever was available.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what he did. But when I first got with him, he was actually placed into a foster home, which was like 2 hours away from where we were living in Tiffin. So a lot of it was like we did build our relationship on like talking on the phone a lot and stuff like that, like actually building a relationship, and we weren't physical or had sex or anything. It might have been a year, but if it wasn't a year, it wasn't much before a year. It was actually like some time. But when he came home from his foster home, that is when I was going to the different school, and when I got to go back to my original school in Tiffin, not saying that was under the influence of bad parenting or anything. I think my mom just wanted to do whatever was going to make me happy. But at the age of 14, I moved in with my boyfriend. And that's when I began experimenting with ecstasy and LSD on regular basis. I was using these substances and then staying up and going to school.
Was that on the grounds of like, okay, you can live with your boyfriend as long as you continue going to school?
I guess so. I mean, and then also, I don't think they really, I don't know, nobody really talked anything about like addiction or, you know what I mean? Like it just wasn't.
No, I mean like your like your mom and dad, like, yeah, you can live with your boyfriend, but you still got to finish school.
Yeah, and they thought he was a dumbass and really didn't like him anyway, so then I guess he wasn't at their house, maybe.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure. But yeah, I still went to school, and
it's no shock to anybody that's read the description of this episode. A lot of it has to do with sex and, trauma from sex. Now, I've done ecstasy, and there's a stigma with ecstasy. Did that was that like, you're 14 years old and now living with this dude, now you're taking ecstasy, which is known to like cause somebody that want to have more sex.
Mm-hmm.
Did that like jump off like your sexual activity by doing a lot of ecstasy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then, like I said, he would get locked up all the time, like go to the children's center, and because he had a probation officer and stuff. So like he'd go to the children's center, and like even back then, like I don't know how to explain it. Like I said before, like I like I picked up young what guys want from you. Not saying I'm like the best looking person. Like, honestly, I feel like I peaked more after high school, but I noticed that, if I did start putting out, like my friends were putting out, guys liked me more. Guys wanted to talk to me more. You could get what you wanted from a guy. So like
Yeah.
that. And I mean, a lot of the times I was only doing ecstasy, like with my boyfriend at the time. But yes, I feel like that opened me a lot to like a sexuality type.
To be
Like,
more comfortable, like doing stuff with somebody physically, because you literally just said a few minutes ago you lost your virginity in a blackout.
yeah.
So, it wasn't about being comfortable and being like, it was my first love and it was a really special moment and we just connected and we had this beautiful night together. That wasn't your story.
No.
Your story is like, I blacked out and I woke up and someone said you had sex and here we are.
Yeah.
And now you're living with this dude and you're still not really sexually active because now you're faithful for a year of just talking.
Mm-hmm.
And then you move in with this dude and all of a sudden it's like, I'm going to do a bunch of ecstasy, which is like, oh, sex is fun on ecstasy. So yet again, you're not having sex sober.
Mm-hmm.
You're using sex sex is like, it's just something you do because you're fucked up.
Yeah.
Let's be real. That's what happens if you're watching a show and you don't know, but like ecstasy and sex go together like ham and cheese.
Mm-hmm.
Like it just goes together. Milk and cookies. That's what happens. You do one and the other one happens.
Yeah. And then like after, like I said, struggling with anxiety a lot, like growing up, like using substances like that, like gets rid of a lot of that anxiety and a lot of that like self-consciousness,
Yeah.
like, so that's when I really started to learn, like, hey, using substances, like I don't feel self-conscious, I don't know that my face isn't turning red because somebody's looking at me, like, yeah. And then, like doing ecstasy, like you feel sexy. I don't know what it's got going on in your brain, but you're feeling good. You're feeling yourself.
Or even being touched, your arm being touched. You're like, oh shit. Like, what was that?
And that was I abused ecstasy and LSD on a regular basis for a very, very long time. And I mean, now I have long-term effects from it, but I mean, it started young, but nobody knew anything about like addiction. Like shit wasn't talked about. You know what I mean? Like they might be like, oh, that person's a crackhead or that person's an alcoholic, but nobody like.
So is that how you learned that you could use your sexuality as a tool, as like a ways to like get what you want?
Yes. I'm like, even back then, like with my boyfriend at the time, like I had said, like I grew up being like the only girl and everything. So like I was the baby and I was spoiled for like my whole entire life. So like even that moved into my life. Like when I got my first boyfriend, I was very spoiled and can get what I want. And then even then at 14 and 15, knowing that like, if I'm like, oh, well, I'll do this for you, will you buy me this, whatever, etc. And I learned that young.
Now, is this the dude you married at 18?
No.
Don't say no. Like it's you.
This one, I was with him when I was young, and I was like, oh my God, we're gonna run away when we're 18 and we're gonna get married and ain't nobody gonna do anything about it. But he ended up cheating on me with one of my best friends. And
can't do that.
Yeah. So then that ended, and shortly after that, we were together for a few years. That was one of my first relationships, and it lasted a few years. Like we got together when I was in the 8th grade. I think until maybe like 10th grade.
Did you move back in with your parents then?
Yes.
Okay.
And after that is when I would still drink and party here and there. But this is when like opiates like perks started getting introduced. This was the time, trying to think what year, like maybe.
Well, I mean, if you were a sophomore, then it would have been like 2007.
Yeah, I was gonna say 2007, maybe 2008, but it was
Yeah.
when again,
That's, yeah.
nobody knew anything about addiction. Nobody talked about withdrawal. It was just, actually, this is back when we could still get real Oxycontins.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And
Or
this
they
was,
made the OPs that gel up. Like this
yeah,
was
this is
like
the OC days.
the time to
And
be
yeah,
alive.
yep.
So
That's because I discovered perks October 2008. And, we called them bananas or school buses, the 10s, that were filled with all the fucking Tylenol. And you just ate them. You didn't snort them. You just ate them. And like, I got high as shit. And then like, I was buying 10s for like a week. And finally, somebody was like, you can buy 30s for $20. And I was like, oh, shit, I'll save $10.
right.
And they're like, and you can snort them. I'm like, oh, cool. I'll try that. And then I never did 10s again. It just, why would I do 10s when 30s are cheaper?
Yeah.
So yeah, I get it. It was 2007, 2008. They were everywhere.
Yeah. And you could go to the hospital for a toothache and leave with a 30-day supply of Percocet. But so like when I first started on that whole scene, it was like, I don't know, somebody had them. It's just, hey, this is a pain pill. It makes you feel good. So, like snorted it. I wasn't like you. I love to snort stuff. So like even snorting all that Tylenol, I didn't care. I did it. It felt like something was going up and it felt like I was doing something. So like we were doing the stuff on like weekends, and then like the weekends are starting on Thursday, and then the weekends starting on Wednesday. And then, you know what I mean? Next thing I know, like I'm doing them every fucking day and still don't know anything about it. Like was very naive to addiction, withdrawal. Like I used opiates for, I feel like a long time, like pain pills, before even maybe experiencing like my first withdrawal. But
yeah,
like
I want to say I went like 5 months of daily use before like I ran out of money finally and I couldn't afford it. And I was like, what the fuck is going on with my body right now? Like, and I didn't know what a withdrawal was. And then I was like, I got to get some fucking money and get high so I can feel better. It wasn't like I should probably stop this so it doesn't happen anymore. It was like, no, I got to find a way to keep this going so it doesn't feel this way anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. So then when I'm starting to get into all this is when I meet another man. Actually, at this time, I believe I was like 16. This man was 23. This is the first person I met that was like a heroin addict. Again, not saying that like I had bad parenting going on. I think my mom just always wanted to trust what I was saying and wanted to trust my judgment. But my parents allowed me to date a 23-year-old man while I was 16 years old. Allowed this man to come move into our home. And I was still like partying, like doing the pain pills and stuff. And like, he was a heroin addict. I was very naive, didn't really know much about heroin. Well, I had a school dance and he was too old to be able to attend the school dance with me. So I wasn't going to not go to this school dance. So I went, and then it was an argument with him. And so this is when he went to go tell on me to my mom that I'm using pain pills. So I forget what ended up happening, but I ended up coming back home, and my mom like took me in her room, shut the door, and she's like talking to me, and I was under the influence of, I don't know all of what that night, but I can remember I even flipped up my nose like, I snorted Percocet, Mom. Like, so what? What about it? And like, nobody, like, again, nobody knew anything about addiction or anything. So it's like, okay, whatever. But then, yeah, this my boyfriend, his name was Zach, the older man who I was dating. He actually, after getting me in trouble for using pain pills, we went to go visit and stay with his grandma in a different town nearby Tiffin. And when we got there, he had stolen some Vicodin from his grandmother and gave them to me. And I'm like, oh, are you going to tell my mom? Like, you know what I mean? For this happening. And so then whatever, I ended up doing those. And then I can remember this is the first night I tried heroin, but I didn't realize what it was, like that it was heroin. He kept telling me like, this is dog food. It's dog food. All you're gonna snort some of this, you're gonna do some of this, and you're gonna feel good. You're gonna feel good. And I can remember I was in a bedroom and I snorted some. And right after I did that, I felt like I had to throw up, and I opened up this bedroom door, and his grandmother is right there in this living room. And I must have just had the look on my face. And she said, honey, are you okay? And I ran to the bathroom and started vomiting. And the rest of the night was like a blackout for me. I don't really remember much. I think I did tell him I don't want to do that anymore, whatever that was. I didn't like throwing up like that. I mean, I didn't want to feel like that. So after that, I stayed in that really toxic relationship for maybe like a year or so, probably, I don't know, till like my senior year of high school. I forget what ended up happening, but we ended up breaking up. But this time,
did you try heroin again after that night with him?
No.
Okay,
no.
So you stuck with it for a while.
Yeah. So then still pain pills, and then this is when I met Michael, whom becomes my husband.
Military man, right?
Yes. He had just gotten out of the military when I met him. So baby, he had a bank account with some money, and it was just what I needed as a senior in high school and somebody who was already addicted to painkillers.
He was addicted too.
Yeah, he had just started, like when we met is when we both were like getting to this spot. And like I told you, like I liked the 5s and 10s, like that did it for me.
Yeah.
But with Michael, that's when I was introduced, to 30s and stuff. And
now, going back to the theme of this, when you met this older military guy who already had money and pills, did you use your sexuality as a tool to get in there?
Actually, I think I
be attracted to the drug use.
I guess kind of both. His intention, I guess, was it's some weird shit. He had a cousin that was like the older man who I dated's baby mom, who had like secret animosity towards me. So she actually had told Michael to get with me and sleep with me and then never talk to me ever again. So we got together, and that wasn't what happened. But yeah, being with him, I knew that like if I put out or if I did whatever for him, that I was able to get what I needed. I mean, within 2 weeks, I was on this man's cell phone plan, on his bank account, was using his car every day. And
Not
then
exactly her plan. Her plan did not work out the way she thought it was going to work out.
no, not at all.
I wonder how she felt when you got married then.
So then actually they weren't even like close. So like she never was even like a part of our life.
Yeah.
Really. I think it was like a total like fluke accident that they were even together that night, and that he was like, oh, this Ashlee girl's messaging me, and then you know what I mean. So then getting with him was okay for a while, but we were both addicts. So I actually was like a good person to him for a while. You know, we just used together until
I'm gonna say then you run out of money.
Mhm.
That's the problem. Is eventually you run out of money because
Yeah,
you moved away, right?
two people getting high. I moved away I graduated high school. And then we moved down to Athens / Nelsonville, Ohio, for me to go to college because I was going to go to school to be a drug counselor. Um, so and that school had the exact programming I was wanting, and I was like, you know what? Yeah, and this is before I knew anything about AA or anything. I'm like, you know what? We just need to move away. We're gonna get sober. This is what we're gonna do. Da da da. No, I just went down there and I found some stronger drugs, and literally sitting in like my criminal justice classes and all that, I was seeing all people like me. Everybody in there was like a felon, just got out of prison, in recovery. I'm looking at the people who I'm like, you get high for show. You know what I mean? So I'm just like, yeah, I thought I'd move down there and get sober, but that's not what happened. But I mean, then while we were down there,
and once you discover the 30s and the 80s, there's no going back to the 5s.
Down there is when I experienced Opanas.
Okay, Opanas.
And those are just very, 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 very strong.
Yeah.
And I moved to the poorest economy in all of Ohio, so like it was hard to even get jobs down there. But yes, while I was down there, I decided to get married at 19 years old. We had been together for a year, I think. Went to the courthouse, got married, didn't even tell my mom beforehand. We were engaged, so everybody was thinking there's going to be a wedding, but this courthouse thing was just like, we're going to go do this. And then I called my mom afterwards. So like down there, things just got bad. Poor economy, couldn't find a job, moved back home. That's when we were like really on our asses. So this is when I really started experiencing the like being broke and having to figure other things out. Because like it said, he had been in the military, so then he was going to college as well. So he was getting like the GI Bill.
Yeah.
But he was getting disability from getting out of the military because he had medical issues. So like we were thriving off of that, plus like my school loans and such, etc. But couldn't find a job down there, had to move back home. It was like a real quick within a week thing. My parents came down 3 hours away, helped us move back home. So we moved home to my parents in a laundry room. And at this time, I think is when we really, really started to realize like how bad things were like with addiction or whatever. But like even back then I still kind of had the mindset that like, well, I'm not doing heroin. People who do heroin are junkies, and I'm not a junkie. So but this is at the time, I started meeting different people to get the pills from, whatever, this person, that person. And I mean 98% of the time the drug dealer is a man. So I started to learn, most of the time the drug dealer wanted to deal with me, the female, versus having to deal with Michael. So I would go get whatever it is that we were getting. And then it started out like I wasn't having to do anything, but like, here's a little extra for you. Like you do this while you're here for you before you go home. You know what I mean? So whatever. At first I started out just, or if I had money of my own, I'd grab a little extra just for myself, like to not have to share, whatever. But then, when it was to the parts where I was broke, I would start hitting up the people wanting like a front or whatever. That's, and then that's when it started getting suggested that I could do favors in order to get the substances that I needed. So that started even while I was married.
Did he know?
No. The a time he had found out, actually he did, he showed up at this man's house and assaulted him with his friend. So yeah, it just wasn't, he wasn't down for that. But I mean, maybe if he realized sometimes when I would come back with stuff,
Where do you think you were getting the money from all of a sudden?
I mean, yeah, so maybe just dots weren't connecting or whatever. But
When you say a favor, you can be straight up if you don't mind, just because like you mean sex?
Yeah, some type of sexual favor, yes.
Okay.
Because like I said, most of the time the drug dealers were men, and they know that we need what we need, so
Yeah.
that's how it was. So like even back then, like I started to like sex wasn't something that's like the movies where like you're having sex with somebody, like this is the person you love. Like sex was a tool.
Yeah.
You know what is that the word I want to use?
Yeah.
Like
a means to an end. It's
or something I learned to utilize in order to get what I was needing.
or wanting.
Right. So, my marriage was shit for a long time. He was cheating, I was cheating. I mean, like abusing each other physically. Like it wasn't just coming from him. I was physically abusive as well. Dealing with a lot of that. And
Well,
then
after him and his friend assaulted that one dealer that you had just mentioned, did that stop you from still trading favors for drugs after that?
no, even that same man that was just assaulted would still have me over. So, yeah, I mean, I didn't learn nothing from it.
Neither did he.
I mean, right. So yeah, towards the end of my marriage, I mean, as you can see, we're both addicts and we're knee deep in it. And then that's when it was getting to the point when they were cutting prescriptions on people and pills were harder to find and they were getting to be more expensive. So that's when I was introduced to heroin. I had a buddy who had just gotten out of prison, was like, girl, I don't even know why you're messing with those pills. I got something, and $20 is going to be enough for you and him. And okay. And then with that, we were both working. We could hold down jobs. And I guess even if it wasn't holding down one job, we would immediately get another job. Like we did always try to have employment. But I started getting bad on that stuff so quick that I would just rack up a debt all week until payday on Friday and go pay my whole paycheck away just to like re-up, to get good all week, whatever.
Yeah, I would do the same thing. Yep. You get fronts all week and then pay back.
Yeah. And so then I can remember the one week I went to go pay my front back. He was like, hey, listen. And my husband was out in the car. He said, hey, listen, you can keep all your money that you have right now. If you just walk over to that side of the room, bend over, and let me see your ass. And I actually turned that down. I was like, oh no, like I'm not gonna do that. That's crazy. No, I'll pay you. I have the money, so I'll just pay you, whatever. And then after that, pretty much basically just same thing for a little while. until things got really physical with my husband and I. When he actually like closed fist punched me in the face.
You were
Um,
driving, right?
yes, correct. I was driving 60 miles an hour on a highway.
Yeah, I
Um,
remember that.
and after that is like we separated. And so then this is when I had got like a really good connection on heroin. Locally, it was a town nearby me. It was called Fremont. Like, even for the longest time getting sober, I couldn't even hear the name Fremont without feeling triggered. But after separating from my husband, I got introduced to a group of boys that come from Detroit. Detroit's not far. Detroit, Michigan
Yeah,
is too far from where I am. So they'll come and post up around here, and they got whatever their substances are that they can get rid of. But I found one of them where I could get higher quantities for cheaper. So this is when things started to progress. And So then I started learning that even like going over and meeting these dope boys, I could show up with money and I could show up without money. And either way, I was going to leave with something because I could go over and I could do some type of favor sexually, and get whatever I needed to get and to go. Um, and then I I got, I don't know if you want to call it lucky. My grandmother had gotten a huge inheritance. She had a family member pass away, and my grandmother was a saint, and she was just like my mother, and just wanted to believe anything that came out of my mouth. She just wanted to trust me. So I manipulated a lot of money out of my grandmother in order to supply my habit.
yeah,
So naturally the dope boys really started liking me. So I guess if it was a bad day and my grandma didn't give me any money, I honestly just go over and just get something because they knew I was spent good money anyways. Um, but after that, my grandma's money started like getting low, and maybe she started catching on to it because I was literally asking her for $500 every single day. Like, and that's no exaggerate. It was every single day. I think she replaced a blown tire on my car maybe 10 times that wasn't ever blown. Like, it was just a lot. Well, then that's when I start, and that's like my tolerance built up really high.
yeah,
So I was doing 3 grams a day just to still be up driving my car and just living life. So that's when I started meeting girls that, they had like local people that they would go see, and then, go do whatever for them. And then you could get your little money and you could go get high. And every single one of these men that they were seeing were 100% aware that we were drug addicts. So I got introduced to a couple people, and I had a couple regular people that I would see in my area, perform sexual acts for, and then receive my money, and then I could go get high. After that, um, just kept digging deeper. Got introduced to somebody else. I think I've said this in other episodes. I don't know if I really would like to call him my pimp because I didn't have to give him my money. My money was my money. I was just required to sleep with him as well. Um, and also at the time, I guess I didn't realize like what was really happening. I guess I felt like maybe since like he wasn't taking any money from me, that like I was in control of the situation. But like,
yeah,
actually, I think it was when I was talking to you that like things really got connected to like getting trafficked. I was taken from my hometown in Ohio to Chicago, Illinois on a Thursday. I would stay there until a Sunday. This man who took me, he had a list of people, and they were wealthy people, um, that I could go see and do X, Y, and Z for in a hotel room. And I'd come home with money and I came home with drugs. And this is what I did for a really long time. I don't really know what my family thought I was doing.
Now, what do you mean by a really long time? Years, months?
Months. I think that's a really long time for
Yeah,
me.
no. That's what I mean. Months is a long time, and is it doing anything to your mental? Like when you would go to Chicago, would you see the same dudes every week, or would you see different people every time?
A majority of them, it was the same.
Mhm.
Sometimes it was like different people here and there, and some of the stuff was really weird to me. Some people are into weird stuff, you know. But you have to perform and do whatever because you know you need that money at the end. But like at this time, like that just really made me like again, I knew what men wanted from me. I was a young, skinny, pretty female. And they just wanted to have sex with me. So like sex was like a tool. Sex was something I could use like in movies. It's like romanticized, like you're supposed to have sex with like somebody you love. And like you said, like losing your virginity is supposed to be like some beautiful time with like whatever. Like that's
Don't
just
worry, mine wasn't pretty either.
like it was because it was like a job. Like it was
Yeah,
a job to me. It was my job to go in there and to perform. Like I was did I enjoy myself? Maybe sometimes, but most of the time, no. I was just doing what I had to do, waiting for it to be over so I could receive my payment and then I could just get on with whatever I needed to
yeah.
do. Um,
Was it taking a toll on your mental health at all to be like, okay, I got to go have sex with like 6 guys this weekend, but I'll walk away with a couple grand?
I don't think so because I was so high
That didn't matter.
that I
You
just
chasing the
stayed
dollar.
high. Yeah, and I think like a lot of that, I mean, yeah, and it was like, you know, like you watch movies and you're like, wow, I really wish somebody would be like that to me. But then, you know, I'm also am who I am. I'm out here using substances and portraying myself as this person and like dressing certain ways. So like, who the fuck who's a good person is gonna want to like
Were you getting high in front of these guys?
not in front of clients. No, 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 no. I think they definitely 100% had to have known.
Yeah,
I'd be unconscious, I think, for some of the times, yes. Um,
but not getting high with them.
no,
Okay.
no. These were actually like businessmen.
Yeah.
Um, not like the guys that I would mess with in my hometown that like would be like, I'll give you $100. Like no way. Like this is like I was making money.
Yeah.
But don't get it twisted. When I was home, I would do the things for $20 and $40 and $100 if I needed
Yeah.
to get whatever. But like I feel like after all that, like when the whole Chicago thing was happening, like that happened. Like my last year before I got sober for my first time. So it was really like 2016, 2017. Because actually I got clean at the end of 2017. Now that I'm thinking about it, it was August 2017. So like up in like beginning of the year till then is when I was like in the real thick of it. After that, I felt really hard. Like, I think number one, like getting sober, like you feel weird about your body, anyways, because like you weren't really eating in your addictions, like you're gaining weight, whatever. You know what I mean? You've been looking at yourself through high eyes. So now you're clear. So, like, I wasn't feeling good about myself, but I could like trying to be sexual like when I first got into sobriety was like very weird to me. Like it wasn't like I don't know, like it was back to like I was back to the self-consciousness and the anxiety of like, you know what I mean,
That you
having
felt in 8th grade.
yes, and
Yeah.
I hadn't had that in how many years? Like I was always under the influence of substances. So
Yeah.
then like I mean after a little bit like it was same thing, like prior, like I started, like what guys really want from you. Like I got sober and I started to look good. I've always been skinny my whole life, but like, being strung out on heroin, like it was like excessively skinny. So
Yeah,
like,
I've seen pictures.
yeah, so like I started gaining weight, and like did start getting the attention from men, and like even like noticing it going to meetings, being a newcomer. You're pressured by like men, you know what I mean? Like that is something, like the 13th step is
13th step.
very
Yeah.
real, and we definitely feel it, especially if you are an attractive female going into the rooms. So then I
Is that why
did.
you go to women's group now, so you don't have to worry about that?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Yep.
And there's things you can talk about in women groups that, like, even like this, like the whole like sex thing, like you really can't discuss that with like a lot of other men, like,
No, because then
so,
they're going to think you're promiscuous.
I mean, right. And I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, at the beginning of my sobriety, I did get to that point where that is what I was doing, because I
Yeah.
seemed like that's what everybody else is, you know what I mean? Like, and like people were telling me how good I looked and this and that, and like at that time is when I told you when I did it the first time, like I did complete abstinence. I did the Vivitrol, which is like non-addictive, whatever,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? But I didn't do anything. And then after that, trying to think when I had like like when I had first gotten sober, I was in a relationship with somebody that I had been in a relationship with for maybe about like 6 months.
Mhm.
He went to jail and got sober, and like at that same time is when I got sober, like on the streets. He had to do 6 months in jail, and then I was on the streets doing it. And after 6 months, when he came home, he was around for maybe like a week or two, and he ended up relapsing, and he overdosed and he died. So that was something like I dealt with in early sobriety. And that was somebody who, like, I feel like after being in like the really chaotic, crazy marriage I was in, like this is the first person that, like, I had like genuine love for. Like, even though we met in active addiction and stuff, like we were very good to each other. We were
Yeah.
good to each other. He knew what I went and did. Was he cool with it? No. But did he reap the benefits of it? Yes. And yeah, so like after that, I think I did like a kind of a mentally spiral. After that, I was on the mission of I was gonna like save people. So then I even got a boyfriend who was actively in active addiction and all that. And I used the excuse of, because like I was still going to meetings with all the guys and getting 13 step, but I used the excuse of, well, he's still using, and he's using behind my back and lying about it. So that means I can go fuck other people because that's what we're doing. And then that lasted to, I mean, I was sober until I wasn't sober anymore because he's doing my drug of choice in my face. So, like after that, I didn't really, like, I had relationships here and there, I guess, but I
Were you
don't know.
getting high again?
After when I relapsed, and that's when I had a boyfriend in active use, I had ended up relapsing, and that's when I went to rehab and had gotten sober again. But
Now, when you relapsed, were you selling yourself again?
No, because I had a job, and I didn't have to do that. And plus, my boyfriend was an addict, so he always had everything, and I had just relapsed, so it's not like I had like a huge habit, so I didn't really need a whole lot. But so like relationships since then have been like here and there. I feel like it's been like really fun in the beginning, and I'm like super into it. But I feel like after a couple months, like I don't know, like once the shininess was gone, I was done with it. Until like this time, I had a little bit of sobriety under my belt. I was doing a little bit better. And then when I met Matthew, whom I'm with now, in 2021, the first night we hung out, we did have sex. And after that, like we were talking all the time. So it wasn't even just like I got slept with one night and then like wasn't spoken to again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I don't remember or not, because like I've said, I'm very open about my story and about my past and stuff. I can't remember if he really knew like the full extent of like my past or whatever when we first got together, if maybe like he did that research afterwards. But like I don't know. But when we
I feel like you were single when we met.
Yeah, and I think that was in that low brief period when I was just alone, and then in that time is when I had met Matthew. Yes.
Yeah. So if he would have did his research, he would have found your story on my show where you talked about sex work on your second episode that we touched on earlier, when we said, you know, you messaged me and you said I have more to talk about. It's because when we did your first episode, which was an hour and 45 minutes, that was straight up drug stories and what they call an AA drunkalogs.
Yeah.
For an hour and 45 minutes. And then I think you saw another episode and you were like, oh, I could have talked about sex work too. Mm-hmm. And you hit me up and I think you said something along the lines of, I have to come clean. Mm-hmm. Right? That's what it was. Because the other episodes, the other episode's called Ashlee Comes Clean. And I think I named it that because that's what you had said to me. And then we talked for like an hour about sex work. And, you know, but we didn't talk about, I want to get into this now, if that's okay, is, you know, I know people, you know, from addiction, because as you know, with me, I'm friends with more women than men. Mm-hmm. Just because I get along better. That I don't know. It's just always been that way since I was younger. And it's not a sexual thing. Like not once have I even hit on you in 4 years of us being friends. It's not that you're pretty, you're not funny. It's just that's not the way I look at my friends. Yeah. But I get told a lot of stories because I'm that kind of person that people just feel comfortable telling me things. And I know that sex work can either cause hypersexuality in relationships, or it can do the complete opposite, where it like pumps the brakes and slows down to where it's an uncomfortable thing to even be sexually active in sobriety. Yeah. And it's not for money anymore and it's supposed to be for pleasure, but that you kind of miss the boat on, like, you want to explain it better than I can?
Like I feel like I said, like, I feel like in the movies, like everything's like romanticized, or like it's supposed to be like this lovely experience. And it's always like with somebody like you love and like you have these feelings for. And it was never really like that. You know what I mean? Like for me, so it was more like a task. It feels like a task, like something I have to perform. Like
it was transactional. It's a good word. Yeah. It was transactional. Yeah. You do this for me, I do that for you, and I get this from you.
Yes. Yeah. And like now, being in a relationship with a man who like he does love me and like he'll accept me for like my past and stuff. Not saying that maybe he's like super happy about it, but you know, like that's what I used to do, and that's me, and that's part of me. And you know what, a lot of people might not like that, but like I love the dirty parts of me because that's part of me, and the person that I am now, you know, is totally different than what I used to do. Yeah. Things I used to accept are things like I wouldn't accept now, but like now, like I'm with somebody who like grew up with that, with the whole like sex is like romanticized, like this is with somebody like you love and da da da. Not saying that he hasn't gone out and had like one night stands and stuff, but like you get what I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
that's something more important to him. Plus, also he's a man, and like men have needs, you know. But like for me, like honestly, like I feel like with like sex, I could take it or leave it. Like on it, I could be fine without it. I feel like other forms of intimacy for me are better. Maybe like spending time together or getting gifts for each other. Like honestly, like even like the whole like physical touch thing is like even kind of maybe weird for me, you know, like we could do like holding hands and such, but like even like that. So like I don't know how to explain it. Like it's
Like,
just
okay, like cuddling on the couch. Let's do it this way. Are you comfortable cuddling on the couch watching a movie?
yeah, we could do that.
Okay. What about in bed? Can you cuddle in bed and sleep or no?
Yeah, but I
Okay.
sometimes I feel like I don't know. Like I
I
said,
don't want to be touched.
he's a man and he's has needs, and I feel like sometimes if like I would do a certain thing, then he's gonna think that that's leading to something else, and that's not what I was trying to do.
Yeah.
But I don't know how to get myself to like a better place. I mean, plus I'm on mental health medication that they say like dampens your like drive anyways. So like I
Yeah, it
feel
does.
like I have that adding on to it as well. But I mean, I don't know, like I have my days when like I can feel really good about myself. Like I don't know, maybe I'll hear certain music, whatever that you know what? Yes, I am feeling good and I feel like we could go do this, but like it's a really hard thing and like it's not like it's an argument because it's not what I want to say. I know that I make my significant other feel like
Was he resentful?
I don't know if it's like resentful, but just like unwanted, like because I'm not sexual,
Yeah.
um, or because I don't initiate or whatever. And it's not that I don't love you. It's not that I'm not like attracted to you. Like I don't. That's just it's hard. It's something it's hard. And like I think I've even said to you before, like I honestly think I really need to go see like a therapist to like maybe work through some things because
Yeah.
oh like and I follow a lot of I have thankfully I found people online
TikTok, big community for it.
who are doing the big like they're in recovery and they used to do sex work, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? They're very vocal about it. And so like I'm getting into that. So I mean, and I think a lot of girls don't realize like how common it is, or like, you know, a lot of us do it but aren't so like vocal about it. You know what I mean? They think that
A lot of yes, it is. Sex becomes a transactional thing for a lot of women that grow up as teenagers that are pretty and told that they're pretty, and
yeah,
when girls as teenagers are told that they're pretty and they can get X, Y, and Z if you do A, B, and C, you realize I can do whatever the fuck I want,
yeah,
and then eventually, you feel like, and I don't want to speak for you, but you know, this is what I've surmised with talking to a lot of women, either through this show or my other show, or just in general as friends, is you get to a point where you don't want to do X, Y, and Z anymore. It's not fun. You don't care about the transaction. You don't care about it's just not where your head is anymore, and you've like kind of outgrown that,
right,
and then you don't know how to, you know, be sexually active or physical or intimate, because the only ways you've ever learned how to be intimate was because it it served you in a different way. You
right,
weren't being intimate to be intimate, to feel that connection. You weren't being intimate to feel the eye contact with somebody else
yeah,
and to feel that connection. You were being intimate because here's $100 to go get high or go buy clothes or go do this and pay your bills.
Yeah.
And it wasn't because I want to connect with you.
Yeah.
And now when it comes to trying to have a connection, you're like, why the fuck do I need to connect with you like that? That's not what sex is for.
Right. Right. And I think like it is, I like it, and I know like it's tough for him as well, because like he's wondering like why, you know what I mean? Like it's a him problem. Like, no, it's a me problem. It is me. It's me. And it's not that like attraction isn't there. It's just that I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. And maybe there's different therapies. I don't know, to talk the same way like this and somebody give me a good professional opinion, but I don't know. It's something that I've kind of just like battled in my head and thought about here and there. And yeah.
Yeah, I think we all need therapy. I think that therapy is an exceptional tool, especially if you're struggling. And, you know, even my wife and I, we do couples therapy, and it's amazing because it gives us a chance to like talk with a third party.
Yeah.
You know, like recently something happened on like a Sunday, and we do therapy every other Wednesday. And I was like, you know what? I'm upset. I'm a little resentful, but it's not going to, you know, be so bad it's going to cause a fight. I'm going to hold on to this until Wednesday and talk about it with a third party. And that's what I did. And we talked about it as a group, the three of us, and worked it out together. And, you know, and it worked out. When it comes to, you know, being intimate, it's the same thing. It's a conversation that we have in couples therapy, because it's just an easier conversation to have with a third party sometimes. Because then you can, as a guy, you can be like, oh, so you are still attracted to me.
Right.
You do still find me attractive. You know, you do still love me. You still love when I hold your hand or tell you you're pretty or your makeup looks good today, or, you know what I mean? Like, stuff like that. And so I get it from the male's perspective, where it's like, is it me? What did I do? Did I gain too much weight? Did I not compliment you enough? Did I not show my affection towards you enough? Like, what am I doing wrong? What can I do better to make this situation better? And a lot of the times everyone thinks it's them. You think it's you. He thinks it's him. And the problem is it's hard to communicate with the other person in a way where you can feel comfortable to know that person's not going to walk out on you if you say the wrong thing.
Right. And I think also a lot of it is knowing like how hypersexual I used to be.
Yeah.
And then how things are like
fizzed.
You know what I mean? Like, so for somebody to really think that like, damn, what the fuck? It's me. You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand what happened, but like, it's just, I don't know, different phases of my life I get, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, when we first met, like things were like super cool and like fresh, you know what I mean? So like it was fun. So like, yeah, we were having sex and doing shit. And then, you know what I mean? Like we just get into like routines and stuff. And I don't know, the way my mental health is, and like just things can be different from day to day, from week to week, from season to season. I don't know. I can just be.
I think it's important to find ways, and you know, even for you and him, it's important to just find ways to be like honest. Like the reason I don't want to today is because I feel this way. And it's about being comfortable to say exactly what is on your mind, because then the understanding comes in.
Sure.
Because, you know, I've never talked to him, but we've been friends for years, and I know he's an understanding person.
Yeah.
You know, he stuck by you through that relapse, and, you know, he moved out of state to live with you.
Right.
You know, it's not like you had to move out of state to live with him. He moved in with you.
Yeah.
You know, and made it work. And he was traveling to see you for a long time before he even moved in.
Uh-huh.
So, you know, that's a big deal. That's showing that he wants to be around you and not because of what you do for him. It's because of how he feels when he's with you. So you need to trust your instincts more to be like, I want to do this tonight because this, or I don't want to do this tonight because of this. It's about learning how to set different boundaries and being comfortable with, saying yes or no and the reasons why.
Yeah.
And they're hard conversations sometimes to have, but you also need to trust that your partner is not going to just be like, well, fuck you then. And I honestly don't think Matthew would do that.
I think a lot of people can get in the mindset of, well, if she's not giving it to me, then she must be giving it to somebody else. And I think like that can be a big struggle too, because again, like how hypersexual I used to be. I think that kind of comes into the play of it, but like that's not even, and that's like not even just in my situation, like in many, many situations.
Many.
A lot of people think that way as well, but then that's when they don't really think about like maybe the way things used to be, like it took a toll on some, you know what I mean? And maybe that's why things are different and that's why people are the way they are now in certain situations. But like I said, I've been open about my story and like I talk about it a lot, but like something I haven't really ever talked about is like, yes, the struggles with like sexual activity now, like further.
Yeah, like I had an OnlyFans model on my other show, and she was able to do a lot for OnlyFans, with her partner, sex and what all the stuff, we'll just say that all the stuff.
Yeah.
Just that was for OnlyFans to make money, and then stopped doing OnlyFans, and all of a sudden it was like finding the motivation to do something and to be intimate just for the sake of being intimate.
Right.
And it took a while to be comfortable to say, like, I want to be intimate tonight because I'm looking at you and I feel like I want to be near you and closer.
Yeah.
Or, the partner would initiate and, be like, oh, like put their hand on her hips and be like, let's go fool around. And then them have to be like, no, I can't right now because I'm just not feeling comfortable in my own skin.
Right.
And I feel like I can't do it. I'd be forcing myself. And if you want, I can lay there and force myself to do it. Or do you want me to be into it? And if you want me to be into it, if you want me to be into it, the answer is a no.
Yeah.
Any
situations too. Like, I mean, sure, yeah, but
I'm just gonna lay there.
Right, you're gonna know. So if you can still get whatever you need, then sure. But I mean, yeah, there's a difference, and can I do it just to tolerate it? I mean, because we do have physical needs, like, you know what I mean? It's stronger in some people. So yeah, like I can get that, and sure, I can handle it for a little bit, but I guess it's depending what you're wanting as well. So
yeah, I think it's a matter of just communication. Like anything else, it's about trusting your partner, knowing that they're not going to just like up and leave you because you're being honest.
Right.
He already knows your past, and what you did in order to get drugs. And, it sounds like he doesn't want kids either, or else he wouldn't be with you because you've been very open about that.
Yeah.
So, it's not about, trying to have sex to start a family. It's about being, like you said before, it's about being patient with each other, setting boundaries, expectations, even if it's like date night, where like once a week you go out of the house and you go to a restaurant and, make it feel like it's new again and there's like a new spark again.
Yeah, we did recently just say that, like trying to make sure, like, yeah, we both work all week and most of the time we're both off on the weekends. Like here lately, I have been having to work weekends because I've been short staffed. Like I had even said to him, like on the weekends, most of the time we're just like home. Like honestly, we get 2 days off. That's our time to like maybe relax a little and then like do laundry dishes and stuff we didn't get to do all week. But I said, maybe it'd be nice if, we could like make sure we're doing stuff together. Like, even if it's like once a week, even if it's like once a month, whatever, if we start like, yes, this Saturday, we know we're going to go do this and go do something together. Like, that's even more than what it is most of the time, because I think a lot of the time both of us just work all week and we're just tired. By the time we come home, we're tired and we don't want to do much or do anything. And so that's a lot of it too. And I think another thing is like, we're both getting older. We're both in our 30s now. So like our bodies are changing, like our minds are, you know what I mean? Like things are changing. Plus, like, I had gone through that relapse and then began recovery again. Like, I feel like I have to get back to another good mental spot. Like, I'm just restarted some stuff that I need to just keep trucking through. So like, we've been through a lot of seasons in our relationship. We will have what, 4 years this year in October. So yes, there's been many seasons and they've all been different. So
same, my wife and I have been together 6 years, and it's just, things change over time. My wife ended up getting sick and MS, and it's something that's like can't be as active as we used to be. And my wife's on disability. She is on, permanent disability, Social Security disability. And, I work 40 hours a week from home. And then we have an 11-year-old that goes with dads on the weekends. And then like my wife does recovery Dharma, like 4 or 5 meetings on the weekends. I do NA and GA. I do the podcast now again. It's like we have our lives and then we try to spend time together too. But, it's important to find time where it's like just us.
Right.
And even if it's just like, let's go out to eat.
Yeah.
Let's not DoorDash tonight. Let's not DoorDash and eat off the coffee table and watch TV.
See, that's something we need to get better at too. Is like, we would much rather just DoorDash and order. Like, he's even said, like, we haven't gone to a restaurant in like however long.
That's what I mean by date night. Doing something like that where it's like, let's go to Applebee's.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be fancy or anything, Let's go to the pub and get some burgers.
Sure.
Not at the coffee table with the TV on and Jude next to you in between you. I know how it is.
Yeah.
We have the one cat that's obsessed with my wife's food. Whatever my wife's eating, the cat wants it. And that's the small cat. The fat cat. We have 2 cats. They're brother and sister. They're from the same litter.
Okay.
And brother and sister. They're funny as hell. Scuba and Diver. Diver's 21 pounds. We call him Plops because he just plops everywhere. And he'll plop on top of us at night. He'll like sleep on top of me, jump on my wife, jump back and forth all night long, and just back and forth. 21 pounds. And then Scuba loves people food. Plops loves pet food. He loves cat food and wet food, dry food. We never give them snacks or anything, no treats, just regular food. But Scuba is obsessed with cheese. Like if my wife gets like mozzarella cheese sticks, they'll like take little pieces off for Scuba and she'll, want fucking piece of cheese or yogurt or ice cream or, Frosty. Put some Frosty on your finger and Scuba's licking it off. Like she's obsessed with people food. And it's so funny because she's only 13 pounds. She's not the fat cat. Her brother is. So, but it's a matter of finding ways to like, treat yourselves as a couple, like by doing something special where it's like once a week you have something to look forward to. Like, do you guys get paid bi-weekly?
His is weekly, mine's bi-weekly.
So like I have a friend, her and her husband they do date nights too, like every Saturday. And sometimes it's just going out to lunch and they consider that a date. And they get paid offsetting weeks bi-weekly. Okay. So like if it's, this week he gets paid, he pays for lunch. If it's a week she gets paid, she pays for lunch and she picks the place. And if it's a week he gets paid, he picks the place and they go eat. And, it's not like you go get dressed up and do your makeup and get all fancy. You just go out and do something together.
Right. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Little things like that will get you back into like the swing of things to where you can actually be like, you know what? Let's do something more. I'm feeling more intimate right now because we just did something together for us and not for anybody else, and it wasn't just in our pajamas watching TV and while we eat at the coffee table.
Right.
I'm guilty as fuck of that. You know, I'm about to go do that when we hang up. Let's be real. There's Wendy's waiting for me.
Yes. For me.
So, when I got NA soon. And like I said earlier, you are more than welcome to check out one of my NA meetings because I think you would love the vibe. And yeah, it's Saturday nights are fun. It's open meeting where there's no topic and you share whatever's on your heart. And you know, it's a fun time. So you have my information. Hit me up if you ever want to join a Zoom meeting, 9:00 your time.
Okay. That's a little late for me, man. I'm up 5:00 in the morning.
I know. That's why I talk to you as early as shit. Whenever I talk to you, it's always early in the morning.
Like right now, I just looked at the time and I'm like, oh my gosh, I already am ready. I need to go.
Well, it's been an hour and 35 minutes. You and I never talk for a short time. I know that. That's why I booked out 3 hours with you tonight because I knew we were going to talk for a while. That's just how our conversations always go because we're both talking to people and we're both very open and honest about like our shit.
Yeah.
So it was awesome to do this with you as usual. I'm sure you'll be a guest more on this one too, because why wouldn't you be?
You finally got me on here. We've talked about it like several times and I was like, I don't know, let me get back to you. So we did it.
Here we are. We're done. It's at the end. How do you feel?
I feel good.
Good.
I feel good.
And look into therapy. I can't believe you haven't done therapy yet.
I've actually, one of my childhood friends who I've recently reconnected with, she does grow therapy. It's all online.
Yeah.
And she has one that she really likes and she's been talking to me about him. So I've actually been considering getting on there and looking into that. But the one barrier I'm running into is what is it going to cost me because I'm no longer qualified for Medicaid and I'm on a private insurance through my work, which is actually like some type of shitty backdoor private insurance that nobody's ever even heard of. So we'll find out where it's even accepted. So
yeah,
but I have talked
BetterHelp too. BetterHelp is pretty good sometimes too, pricing wise.
Okay.
And it's all virtual. Even my doctor, I have Medicaid and I still qualify luckily for it. I have never met my therapist in person. For 3 years it's been virtual. So, and our couples therapist is virtual. We do it out of our kitchen. And, it's fucking awesome. When I smoked cigarettes, before I used to sit in my car and chain smoke while I did therapy, and I could feel comfortable in my own setting.
Right.
So yeah, check it out. Let me know if you need anything as usual. And I'm sure I'll talk to you very soon because it's us. So awesome. Absolutely. Thanks for coming on, Ashlee. I appreciate it. See ya.
Bye.